Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Hello, hello. We're going to give at least a couple more minutes so that people can continue trickling into the webinar. Thank you so much for joining us at the Start Smart with Google AI. My name is Lorna Baez. I am one of the assistant directors at the Small Business Development Center at FIU. And I'm super excited that I'm here with two of our Google certified consultants, Adriana Madrinan and Mark Mungenast, who will be leading this webinar for you today. A couple of things that I want everybody to know is that this is a two-part series in this webinar. Next Wednesday at 12, we're going to have the second part. We are going to be registering all of you that attended today for next week. This is going to be a beginner introductory webinar. And next semester, we will be hosting two face-to-face workshops at the intermediate level. So the idea is that we are organizing a series to help you, small business owners, not only get an introduction to AI, but then start working and really navigating and understanding the different platforms that are out there in order to improve your productivity. Another thing that is very exciting that I wanted to share is that on November 20th, OpenAI Academy is hosting the Small Business AI Jam. We will be sending more information via email, but this is coming up. Registration just opened, I believe today. So you're getting, this information hot from the oven, and we'll be sending you the registration link. It's on the chat and also on our email. Remember that this recording is going to be sent to you and the presentation on a follow-up email. Please provide us at least with 3 business days so that we can get all the information and send it over. So without further ado, here is Adriana and Mark.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Lorna. It's a pleasure to see you all. We are happy with Mark to be here and share this experience. As Lorna explained to you, just in case, remember, we are sbdc at FIU, but we are 9 centers. And believe it or not, the whole nationwide SBDC is really focused on teaching all small businesses about AI. These are some of the consultants on our center. And oops, sorry. And I'm gonna leave this code for a second. So if you wanna subscribe to the newsletter, you have access, okay? So use your cell phone and use the QR code. So as Lorna explained, this is part 1 of 2 sections of a presentation. The reason is AI is a long part, it's a long topic. And this is a basic model. We will be teaching you how to set up your AI and how to start working with your AI. We will continue with more applications next week. Please write all the questions in the Q&A. So there are not wrong questions. Whenever we go to meetings regarding to AI and somebody asks, who's the expert on the audience? Nobody raises the hand because this is not a subject that anybody feels an expert. We are all learning. Maybe some people are more immersed than other people, but at the end, we are all learning. You will also receive at the end, as Lorna said, you will receive this presentation, but at the end, we have created a QR code link that will guide you to the key elements and prompts we will use in this presentation. So don't worry, you don't need to take pictures, you will receive everything. Sorry. Give me 1 second. Please excuse me. We practice so much to make this work, but I will read it just for you. So everything has created with AI for this presentation. So knowledge may be limited, but imagination is without end. For you, small business owners, AI in your hands is not enough. Know the rules, but imagine everything that is not yet to exist. So we can make the future grow. So the reason we wanted to have that video there is because AI is a very strong tool, and I will explain some numbers later. But it's very important that we know what is AI, how can we use AI to streamline our work as small business owners, and how to organize and analyze the information to help you make decisions and how to do it in a safe way. This has been also we have been working with Mark very hard to the point to make every single slide and every single image just designed for you. So you understand that you can create, you know your business better than anybody else, but AI could give you the tools to go even further. So let's just start with why is AI in simple terms, and I want Mark to walk you through.
Thank you, Adriana. So what is AI? AI is really a series of technologies. It's just not one thing. At its core, AI is about having computers do tasks that normally require human thinking. AI recognizes patterns, reasons, can suggest decisions. But there's various branches of AI. We're going to be talking a lot about generative AI, which creates new content, text, images, or code. But other AI tools handle perception control and physical activity. Think of autonomous cars or robots. So AI is much broader than just chatbots. It's the intelligence layering, powering everything from Netflix recommendations to warehouse administration, sorting parts. How does these artificial intelligence, generative AI programs learn all that, you may ask? Well, first of all, there's two general ways of learning. Machine learning is in a structured way. You give structured data, whether it's an Excel spreadsheet. Let me give you a simple example. A baby learning what an apple is. You tell the baby this is an apple and you show it a picture over and over again. So that's structured data, and the baby finally learns what an apple is. Deep learning goes a step beyond. It's unstructured data. It's data that is fed into the model, and the model itself determines the connections. But these large language models are trained on massive amounts of data. So generative AI combines the capabilities to create something new from this new, all the massive data that it collects. And it collects and learns text data. Now let's go on to what a prompt is. So a prompt is a clear instruction that you give your large language model, such as Google Gemini or ChatGPT, instructions. And we'll go into a little bit about that and how to write good instructions. But it's a clear instruction telling the model what you want and how you want it. It's very specific. Now, generative AI creates new context, new code, images, and it's basically text to image, text to real, text to text, and it creates new information from what it's learned and from your prompts. So this is basically what I said, but you have to remember that in 2019, the large language models were created with 10 billion pieces of words. Now we're up to the latest models created through 70 trillion pieces of words. And that's just from 10 billion. Second generation had 300 billion. This third generation, 70 trillion. So the models are learning, and it's exponential. Now, I want to spend a minute on this slide because you say, oh, there's so many tools out there. What should I be using? Well, let me just go through a few of them. ChatGPT is very popular. It's probably the most used. It's good for reasoning. It's good for brainstorming. Claude AI is another tool from Anthropic, is the company. It's based on constitutional AI. What's constitutional AI? It has a set of instructions that are ethical guidelines to produce balanced results. Copilot is from Microsoft. So you may have seen Copilot in 360. So when you're doing Word or Excel spreadsheets, there's a Copilot that will help you through that if you're in that environment. Gemini, on the other hand, plays well in the workspace environment, which is the counterpart to Microsoft 360. So if you're using Sheets, which is the counterpart to Excel, perhaps you want to use Gemini. People use Perplexity because they like its research, they like the user interface, they like the fact that it easily refers to the references where it gathered the material. And Grok is an Elon product from X, formerly Twitter. And that's very interesting because it's able to go into X and look and read and summarize posts and threads from that platform. Now, there are a whole bunch of other standalone smaller models like Canva, QuickBooks, Grammarly, HubSpot. So for instance, HubSpot for marketing has an AI component. So does Grammarly, that helps you write better. QuickBooks has an AI, and so does Canva. So you may be using those, or you may want to use those. Embedded in there are a lot of AI applications and processes.
So why AI matters for small businesses? So Mark already explained the technical part behind it, but let's talk about the impact. We know that according to the Salesforce Trend Report of 2025, 91% of small businesses that currently use AI have reported revenue increases. Also, based on some studies in productivity, 40 to 66% is how much productivity is raised when AI automation is used. That frees time for sales, innovation, and strategy. And I know this is weird, but I remember when I worked many years in an advertising agency, when a new technology came at that time was internet. We went in 1 year in an office from 13 people to 60 people because the productivity really skyrocketed. So that's what is AI also bringing and is changing a lot. I also want to highlight that based on the US Chamber of Commerce data, at the state level data, 67% of small businesses currently use AI in Florida. And this is above the average of the US. So just be aware of that number. Finally, something that I really want you to keep in your mind. What the beauty of AI is that AI levels the playing field by allowing small businesses to automate big team tasks like marketing, customer support, and data analysis, enabling them to compete with larger firms. So if we learn this new tool that is like a new pen, we can compete with bigger players that used to have teams to do all this work. Now AI can help us to get our businesses there. So now we're gonna move into how to set up your AI platforms and some privacy tips that you should consider.
There are several privacy concerns, and there's several concerns that my clients have in general. First of all, they say it's too complicated, I'm afraid. First of all, there is no coding. I remember when I was growing up as an engineer, there was Fortran coding. No, this is all text-based. So if you go into ChatGPT or Gemini, you give it instructions through what they call prompting. It's sometimes called prompt engineering. You give it simple instructions or more complicated. It's built to be simple and intuitive. I don't trust my data. What's AI going to do with it? That's true. You use the paid version. Now, I have paid versions of Copilot, I have paid versions of Google Gemini, and I have a paid version of ChatGPT. In the paid version, the model is not training on your data, but you got to turn off that switch so it doesn't train on your data. Your data is much more protected than the unpaid versions. I encourage you all to select one or two and to get the paid versions. It doesn't replace human judgment. Imagination is still yours. You still make the judgments. You are still in the loop. You are in control. This is a very smart assistant for you to gather data, suggest, brainstorm. You make the decisions. A lot of the AI options are already built into like QuickBooks, right? Or Canva, or any other tool that you may commonly be using. There's already an AI option already built in. Think of AI as an investment, and think of it that your competition is using AI. Now you can see here we have a QR code. So if you want to take a snapshot of that QR code, I want to quickly go through this because this information is in the file, Notion file, if you just take a snapshot of the QR code. So use the paid plan, turn off the training data, avoid sensitive information. So if I put a client's files in, I don't put a client's files in, I make it anonymous. I call it ABC Company. Okay, you can turn on MFA. Okay, and obviously we do that for a lot of our other programs. Clean the data regularly, delete the chats, okay, and tell it to delete the chats. You should always do so.
Then we're going to move some best practices for AI.
Few things that I should mention is hallucinations. There have been some famous cases about AI hallucinating. AI is only as good as the data it is trained on. Obviously, it's getting trained on much more textual data, 70 trillion versus 10 billion of 2019 till today. The models are updated regularly. So the latest release of ChatGPT, which is 5.0, was trained on data through January of this year. Gemini was September of, I think those are the opposites, but September of this year and January of this year, one or the other. So the data, it's got all that data. However, if we have visitors from outer space and they land tomorrow, it wasn't trained on that data. It does have the ability to go out and grab information from the web, though, on the most current data, but it's not trained on that data. Don't over rely on it. It doesn't replace your critical thinking. You're still the decision maker. You're looking at the outputs and the suggestions. Be transparent with disclosures. As we said, we've disclosed that every image on here was created by AI, and respect the privacy laws and the identity of your customers. If you put those customers, don't identify them, perhaps give them ABCD names, something other than their personal identity. Now, we did a lot of images here, and Adriana of a coffee cup. Well, something happened. She got two coffee cups. I think one's a cappuccino and one's a coffee. So always check, because I'm going to show you an example after this of a reel I created on Google Gemini on a program called VEO, and that was text to image. You can create reels, text to image, or you can modify photographs just by writing words. So look at the line of sight. I always look at shadows. Is the shadow there? Is there misspelled words? Is there a copyright? So the next one, I created an image through Gemini of pigs running through the muck.
So you can see what happened to the piggy.
Yeah, but
With-
I created it by saying, have 2 pigs and 3 piglets run through the muck. Well, it took the word through, and you can see the pig went through the muck, actually, and disappeared.
So
But I
you,
want to mention that was created simply by text to reel. And they give you 8-second reels. It was created on Gemini, and it was very simple to create.
so as you can see, we are all learning new ways to do it. And at the same time, AI is learning from us how to interact, how to read our language. So yes, so here are some best practices to consider and just follow, especially make sure you read the section in Notion. We will put the QR code at the end again, where you can really close. So once you pay, the AIs are not the artificial intelligence is not learning from your input. So you can have a private space. So let's move to what are prompts and how to use them.
So prompting is the key to generative AI models, whether it's ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Copilot. Prompting is a skill in writing clear instructions so the model understands what you want and delivers the right results. So if you say, write about my bakery, it doesn't know anything about your tone, the name of the bakery, what it's about. It's about gluten-free cakes, and you want to write about a weekend promotion. So we have a way of writing prompts in a 5-step process. You should write a prompt with a role, task, content, format, and tone. What's a role? That's the role that you want the AI program, ChatGPT or Gemini, to take on. So here we're saying act as a marketing consultant. You could say act as a CFO, act as a baker, act as, you give it a role. Write a social media post. That's the task. Oh, so now it says I have to write a social media post, and it says check mark, got it. What's the context? Gluten-free bakery launching new cookies. Okay, now it understands that you want to launch new cookies, and use what kind of format, 3 bullets in each post, and in what kind of tone. So let me give you a couple of other examples while we're on this. I have given ChatGPT the task of writing and making up a beef dish and given it a role of a line chef. It will come up with a hamburger. If you say you're a 2-star Michelin restaurant chef, find me a beef dish, it will come up with probably beef Wellington. So the role is very, very important, as are the other things, the task, the context, the format, and the tone. By the way, on tone, some of my clients, you can tell friendly tone, serious tone, or you can tell it, use the tone of The Onion. The Onion is a satirical digital newspaper, and it has these wild tones and posts. And a lot of my clients are writing in the style of The Onion, and it goes out, and ChatGPT or Gemini knows what The Onion is because it's able to read that. This is very important. You are able to bring in examples into the chat box. So just copy and paste, drag, or you can bring in a PDF or a Word document. It will read that. So in this case, we're saying, here are 2 Instagram posts for my spa. Write one more in the same tone for a summer facial special. We'll see in later examples that Adriana will go through that dragging in spreadsheets. You can drag in spreadsheets. So you can put into the chat box information that it can act on. Chain of thought processing, prompting. So that is give me step-by-steps. I mean, frankly, I use ChatGPT, Gemini all the time on a step-by-step. how do I do Google ads or Facebook ads? Please give me the step-by-step, process. It reasons for me and will give me detailed step-by-steps and tell me exactly what to do. But in this case, you can, help me identify the client issue. Second, review the policy, suggest solutions, draft an email. Another way of prompting that is not on the page in here, if you're doing a business plan, you can say, tell me all the questions I should be asking myself until I'm 90% sure that you have asked me all the questions. It will then identify all the questions that you should be doing. Of course, you have to give it some context about who you are. You're a bakery, what your location is, how big you are, etc. But it will tell you all the questions. So there's different ways of prompting. Here are a few of them. More will be discussed as Adriana goes through some detailed examples.
Thank you, Mark. So Mark gave you all the technological side, how to properly write prompts, how to properly close your AI tool, how to be the human in the loop. So how to use it as a tool, but really be aware of what you are doing and how you are doing it. So after all of that, we're gonna now apply it to a case, the downtown marketplace. Please be aware that this case is fake. Everything is fake. The images, everything is fake. So, but it's just so you can have an example and then you can apply it for your own business. So let's talk about the downtown marketplace. The downtown marketplace is located in downtown Miami. It's an LLC founded in 2021, a local market supporting farmers and artisans. They have multiple revenue streams like farmers market, cafe, local products that are both sold online and in-house. But they, like any business, they have challenges. They have seasonal fluctuations and inventory challenges, and also they're limited on staff, team management, and delegation. We have put this QR code, and Lorna is gonna add the link. You will see at the end a link that has everything that we're talking today. But in this link, if you put your camera, you will see the description of the downtown marketplace. So let me introduce you to Christina and Thomas. Christina owns 55% of the business and Thomas 45%. They're both passionate about local food systems, but they're overwhelmed with administrative tasks. They spend about 15 hours a week on tasks that could be streamlined. And like many of you in the audience, probably are very curious about AI, but not sure where to start. So we're gonna help them. Today, we're gonna help Christine and Thomas in 3 areas of the business: human resources, financials, and we are gonna create like a manual. Next week, that's why you shouldn't miss next week, we will be talking about the second part of operations, how to create all these processes for operations, and a lot of marketing. So please don't miss the next section. So let's help Christina and Thomas first with the human resource part. So, they are overwhelmed. They have decided that they need a general manager. So the goal is to create a job description to support the hiring process. So the downtown marketplace is a mission-driven location that offers farm fresh food, artisanal goods, and community experiences under one roof. Create a job description. Remember the first example that Mark showed us. So it has all the pieces. Create a job description for a general manager to assist the owners in the operation. Include a salary range based on the downtown Miami area. And this is what AI created for us. So we put the prompt, and it goes very detailed on what he's doing for us. And then he gave us the job title, the location, the about us, all these examples that we got with our AI. You will be able to see it, and I will show it in a minute in this QR code. In that QR code, we have also used You remember that Mark in the slide told you you can use ChatGPT, Gemini, Cloud, Perplexity, Copilot. So those are large language models, but there are also a lot of platforms that nowadays integrate AI and can help you with the tasks. So either you can use it in your own with the large language models, or you can use these tools that we are giving you. Let me show you how, when you open the QR code, this will help you. So if I go to that Notion page, it will take me, in the case of the prompt job description, you will see the same prompt that you just saw, all the answer in detail, what we obtained, and then, so you see, let me go back. So the responsibilities, the operation and inventory, people and team, financial business leadership, system, processes, vendor, customer experience and brand, strategic support and growth, requires skills, compensation, benefits, reporting and structure, and how to measure it. I left this because we wanted also to show you that, you know, he usually offers the next step that you may need. Also, in those links, you will find all the platforms that I was showing you, where you can really find those tools that may have either a free version or a version that could be paid in levels. You know, usually they have a free part and you can use up to certain services, and then it will increase more and more the cost, okay? So many of the questions that you're putting in the chat, we will be answering once we finish. Just let us finish, leave the question there. So Soledad, we will be happy to answer your question, but just let us move on, and then we will answer all the questions. So please use the Notion. This is a very broad topic, so that's why we have added more content for you in Notion. So we already helped them create the job description. Remember, this is taking examples from all over to give you the job description. So you need then to go read and review it. Always be the human in the loop. So once we have created that new job, remember, we are just working today for Christina and Thomas. They needed the job description. Okay, what is the next question? Can we really afford that? Can we really afford that manager? Can we really work, and shall we hire the manager full-time or part-time? So the question is something that AI can also help us. So in this case, I'm leaving the information for you, and you have read that the prompts have the downtown marketplace, but you can only put like maybe the DM marketplace, or you can change the name for the safety purposes. So in this case, to analyze if Thomas and Christina can really hire this manager, then we're gonna upload our profit and loss and all the financials that I will show you in a minute. And we have also requested a SBDC consultant to give us the benchmarks. So what is a benchmark? Is if you contact us, we can always pull out a benchmark that is the percentages companies like yours spend on rent, employees, salaries. So then you can compare if you are maybe spending more in one area than in another. So in this case, they are really focused on, they want to know, based on the numbers we are giving AI, is this business ready to invest in a new hire? What expense categories are increasing year over year, because we are giving that information that we received from the SBDC, and find out if the marketplace, at the downtown marketplace, has the means to hire a manager or create talking points to prepare, to review the financials. Remember, when we talk financials with AI, it can give you charts, spreadsheets, explanations for non-financial owners. You can always say to AI when it gives you an answer, please explain it like if I was in 10th grade, and it will make it simpler for you to understand. So let's see how we help Christina and Thomas to get these answers. So we uploaded the downtown market financials. Look at it in my file. I just put DM. And we included the profit sense report. And we added the prompt. Review downtown marketplace, current financials, and net profit. Calculate full annual cost of hiring a full-time manager at $45,000 a year, including 20% for benefits and 7.5% for payroll taxes. Compare these total costs to contracting the same services at $4,000 a month. Use the average net profit margin for grocery stores from Profit Sense, that is the report, the benchmark. Based on the financials and comparison, determine whether the business can afford to hire, provide a recommendation in simple and plain language. So this is, I will show you in detail. So we put the prompt and AI gave you a full detail. I will show you in a minute. We will scan this QR code and we will see the details. But I want to tell you, you already have really good data in your hands that you can use with AI. For instance, QuickBooks pulls out really good reports, like the best and worst selling products, how to use it. And so for instance, if I've used it with clients that are in the retail world, you can download those reports and check, okay, what are these products that are selling more? Are my margins good? How can I make it to even where to place it in the store, those products, so they sell better? What can I do with the products that are not selling well? Can I check again my margins? Can I create bundles? And everything can be done from reports from QuickBooks that are giving us the best and worst selling products. The same will happen with any other tools that you use, like Fresha or any other tool that you are using for financials. So let me show the response we got. So remember, the QR code will tell you to this link. So I want to make a note of something. You can always download these reports to do something similar for your company in this arrow when you get the Notion report. These arrows may be closed or open, so feel free to open it to download the reports, okay? So here's the financial report we added for the downtown marketplace. And we also added what I mentioned, the Profit Sense report, that it tells us all the ratios, you see, for the specific industry that we were looking at, okay? So you can always request, when you're working with a consultant at the SBDC, those reports. So then this is the response we got. So it gave us the numbers for 2024, the numbers for 2025 projected. It used the comparison, the benchmark, and then it started doing some analysis for us. We already mentioned that we wanted to pay either a full-time salary of $45,000, benefits of 20%, and a payroll tax that we will have to pay. And so it says that the annual cost will be, with all these benefits and payroll, actually my cost as a business owner, or in this case, Christina and Thomas' cost as a business owner, will be $57,000. However, if they contract the manager, they will pay $4,000 a month for 12 months, will be $48,000. So you can read all the details. And and see what are the recommendations, and you can continue asking more questions. So remember, you can also use that prompt for your business. Again, some financial platforms that you can use are QuickBooks, Xero, Wave, Mercury. I know some of you are using FreshBooks too, so you can check if those tools have AI and check what is the limitations and the policies behind it, okay? So by now, we have helped Christina and Thomas create a job description and to see that it's better for them cost-wise to hire just not a full-time hire, but a contractor. Now they need to create a manual to explain this new hire, what are the jobs that are that he needs to cover. So yes, AI can be very helpful for contracts, agreements, and manuals. So if you get a contract from a vendor, sales, maybe you are renting an event space or subleasing a space or creating a manual, definitely you can do it. But we always, and I want to make an emphasis, we always, you should always validate with a legal advisor or an expert. So for experts in the field, we are happy to help you at the SBDC to review things like, is this HR compliance, for instance, with our consultant of HR. But we also be aware that you can always go to the legal clinics of the universities, in our case, the legal clinic at FIU, where they will help you either review contracts or write contracts. So even if you have reviewed it with AI, write your questions, go to the experts, and they will gladly guide you, and you will be safer to do it that way. So always in traditional contracts and agreements, the process is you need to understand the type of agreement, the scope, identify the parties and the terms, draft the manual. It could be an old template that you are updating. Make sure the whole team is aligned, but always look the legal review or expert. Then you sign, and you should store those agreements. You can also use AI to review contracts when you receive them, okay? And you can even say your capabilities, maybe the amount of employees you have or the amount of hours you will be working, okay? So let's read the prompt we used to help Christina and Thomas. So create a detailed new hire checklist for a mission-driven marketplace that sells farm fresh groceries, artisan goods, and host community events. The checklist should reflect the values of sustainability, local sourcing, community engagement, and excellent customer service. Organize it by timeline. Example, before day 1, first day, first week, first month. And include both administrative and cultural integration tasks. Make this for any new employee and then add specific items for a general manager. So once again, I'll show you in a minute the result we got. That will be in the QR code and the list of other platforms that you can get support to build all of this. I want to make a comment. There is a high chance that when you do it, even if you do the exercise with the marketplace, that you may get not exactly the same response that we got. That could happen, and we have done a test maybe with other ABDCs in a table and in courses we have been, because if you are already working with AI, maybe you have trained your AI to give you certain things, so it may not give you the general response. It's very common to get a similar response when you are starting from fresh, but if you are not, and you have already trained the tool, may give it a different way. I tell you by experience, one day we were testing all of this in a table, and one of the people in the table was always getting in a PDF. And when we check, it's because this person always asks AI, put it in a PDF. So AI was already very efficient and put it in a PDF. So just be aware of that. So let's look at the job description that that you can get. Oh, Sorry. So once again, if you use the QR code, it will take you to this page, the operational checklist, the prompt that we just discussed. And look how it gave us. Before day one, preparation and welcome, and all the details. First day, orientation and connection, and all the information, okay? First week, learning and implementation, okay? First month, and then even additional items. So remember, AI is giving you a generic version. Maybe only with time that you really train your AI with your information will start answering, knowing your business. But at the beginning, especially, will be very generic. So you always have to go back. And even if you have trained for a while your AI, you always have to read. You always have to be the human in the loop. Here again, some platforms you can check. Now, most of the AI tools are coming, most of the platforms are also integrating AI. If you follow the companies that follow trends for businesses in technology, they are saying that next year, about 91% of all businesses in the US will be using AI. So it's important that you know, even if you use the platforms, what are you using, the policies, but also anything that you read and increase your skills. So you are, because if you're not doing it, guess what? Your competitors are doing it. So, oh, sorry, let me go back to it. When you open your Notion, there is always a way to go back to the previous page, okay? So let me go back here. So in this presentation, we not only learn all the technological side and how to do proper prompts and how to secure your AI, but we help Christina and Thomas to create a job description, to analyze if they can really hire that person and in which format, and also to create a manual for the first, once they contract that, hire the person. So we want you to continue with us next week, where we will have all the details now about other sections of operations and a lot of information about how to use it in marketing. This is the final QR code that I want Lorna to add it again in the chat. This QR code will give you a large summary, all the details. So not only the tools you can use, how to make it safe, how to learn a downtown market, and the prompts that we use. And let me go there so you can see it. So you can choose the tools that works for you. And I suggest also that if you are a person that is really involved in Microsoft, use Copilot. If you have everything in Google, maybe Gemini, because if that's what you have, you can use even better, you can use your environment better. I really recommend you open this, how to make ChatGPT and Gemini safer and private. It will walk you through everything you have to do, even how to close it in ChatGPT. Okay? Improve you don't want that whatever you put is improving the model for the rest of the world. Okay? So it walks you through, so be very careful and follow the instructions. You can also learn about the downtown marketplace. If you want to test the examples first with the downtown marketplace, here is how you can, if you add this text, it will help AI. And then the prompts. Next week, we will add to this section the new prompts. So you will have more prompts in operations and many prompts in marketing, okay? So you don't miss our next presentation. So let's move into questions. Now we are ready for your questions, sorry. Lorna, do you want to read the questions?
Yes. Okay. First question, how do you make sure that the AI is not plagiarizing when creating marketing copy that will be published online or printed?
Let me handle that one. First of all, that's a very, very timely question. First, I would give it very clear instructions to create new content. So how you prompt is important. Second of all, most of these models have reference sources that you can look up. You can say in a prompt, give me the reference sources. Some of the models show it right away. Most of them show their reference sources where they got that. So that is very, very important. Third, if you're really concerned, you can go to a platform, something like Just Done. That's all one word, JUSTDONE, and copy and paste, upload your copy, your content into there, and it'll tell you whether it was plagiarized or not. Now, this is a very interesting question because, for instance, ChatGPT from OpenAI and Microsoft was just sued by the New York Times because that model, that large language model underlying it, was looked at millions and millions of articles and trained on articles from the New York Times. So the New York Times has a problem with that, and it's right now it's in the courts. So you always have to be very careful. Be careful with your prompts. You know, tell it you want original content. Look at the sources where it picked up as data. Usually you can get that right in the chat box in the reply. Third, if you're very concerned, go to a platform like Just Done and put the content in there, and it'll tell you what parts, if any, were plagiarized.
Thank you, Mark. The other question is, I used ChatGPT yesterday to prepare a quote using yards and details to get the price. The only issue I noticed there were 2 errors. I am using the free version. Maybe a paid version is more accurate?
Mike, do you want to answer?
Yeah, usually the paid versions, you know, depends on whether you're on ChatGPT, Gemini, but always use the paid version. First of all, it protects your information. They don't train on it. It's only $20 a month. And the model could be different. I think on the ChatGPT, the version that is paid is 5.0. And, I'm not sure what version. So you can always look up on the version, whether it's Gemini, ChatGPT, or any other, look at what version you're on. So the paid version of ChatGPT is 5.0, and the paid version of Gemini is 2.5. And by the way, the paid version of ChatGPT has a deep thinking mode. So instead of an instantaneous answer, it will think. I've had ChatGPT think for like a minute and a half, computing and thinking about and really deep thinking about what the answer should be. There are also models that are better for math and reasoning than general brainstorming for each of those platforms. So you can, on the paid version, perhaps move through different models. If you want a model for calculations, for instance, there's models that do better on calculations.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Augusto, do you want to, Lorna, read the question if you want?
Yes. Do you offer any help with lawyers to create terms and conditions for a small business?
So I'm going to ask Lorna to look for the link for the legal clinic. Augusto, you can always contact them. Yes, they will help you with the terms and conditions for your company, for a website or to review contracts. Read the page. They offer a lot of really good services for free. I think you have to pay a fee of $25. It's done by a student, but it's reviewed by a professor. And the other thing you need to know is that they close during the summer. During vacations, they're not open. So make sure if you need help, do it soon before the winter break comes.
Mm-hmm. So I will be locating the information of the FIU Law Clinic, and I will put it in the chat. We do not provide any legal help, But like Adriana said, we do have community partners and also FIU resources that can help you at no cost or at a very low cost. So I'll put that information in the chat. Okay, the next one. I use the paid version, but sometimes it forgets my persona. Do I need to adjust the settings?
Do you want to answer, Mark, or shall I?
No, go ahead, Ava.
Okay, Soraya, and nice to see you in this class. So definitely go back and be very clear and say, I want you to learn, this is who I am, this is what I do, this is all your information. What I've noticed is people that manage a lot of clients and have input information about the clients gets very confusing because AI doesn't know if it's you or the client. So maybe the reason it forgets is because it's mixing your data with other data. So you have to go back in the settings. You can also put, call me this way, do this way, all of that. You can also use not only the general chats, but you can use, for instance, AI has general chats and projects. In projects, you can upload documents, you can describe who you are, and you can always go back to that project when it's your business. I want to make sure that when you are talking about a client, you say, my client needs X. So AI starts understanding that this is not you. This that you are uploading at that time or are asking is for your client. I hope this answers your questions. But yes, you go back, and if you are using ChatGPT, check projects.
Okay. The next question is, what is the cheapest and best AI to use?
Well, obviously, the cheapest is the free version. I do not suggest you use the free version for what we said before, privacy concerns, et cetera. The model, better model, and the privacy concerns. So it's $20 a month. I have subscriptions, as I said before, to Copilot, Gemini, and ChatGPT. Now, it's very interesting that I did a study in Gemini, and then I cut and paste the answer into ChatGPT, and I got more information. So not every large language model will provide the same information. They may provide 90% of it, they may enhance it, they may provide it slightly different. And again, it depends what you're doing. You can use Copilot if you're working with Word documents, Excel, etc., the 360 workspace, Google Gemini if you're working with Workspace and Sheets, which is the Excel equivalent in Google. It depends, and it depends a lot on how you want to work with it. A lot of people like Perplexity because how it answers questions, how the user, the UI, how it looks and feels. Each of them has its kind of own personality. So it kind of depends on you, but always use the paid version.
Okay. This is just a comment. ChatGPT Plus is $20 for personal, and for business is $50.
There is a ChatGPT for $20 is what I use. There is also a team version. It's not $50. I think it's 20 or 25. I think it may be 25 per team member. So if you had two people on the team, it would be $50 or in your business. So I believe that's just the current pricing. What the team version gives you the ability to share across the team. So it has slightly more features than the individual version. There is also a $200 version that I played with once, although I didn't have a subscription, which really goes into and shows you how it tracks its thinking and which websites it's looking for in real time.
Mm-hmm. Okay, another question. What are some measurable ways companies can track the real impact of AI adoption on productivity and profitability?
So, Eric, that's a very good question. And that's a question that is just ROI is not enough to measure the benefits of AI. because at the end you may be paying for a service that you were not adding to your profit and loss before. Now you're adding, so it sounds like an expense. We will be talking in detail in the next class how you can measure in different ways, because now you need to measure definitely other results, like other inputs in not only return on investment, but return on productivity and other variables. So because it's a longer topic, please contact, we hope to see you next week. And if you cannot make it by any chance, just send us an email. We will send you that specific part.
Mhm. Thank you, Adriana. Okay, which AI platform would you recommend to be best? For example, writing a kid's book with pictures.
I mean, for instance, with pictures, DALL-E, which is an open AI in ChatGPT, is the image generator for that platform. You may like it. I used it a while back, and then I started using Gemini for text to image, editing image, which will be in our next workshop, and text to real, which you saw the pigs. And I kind of like that. It's somewhat limited in how many you can do per month and the length of it, but it kind of depends. But I would play with those tools. VO, the other one is Nana Banana from Gemini, and DALL-E from ChatGPT. They all will create, kids' books, text. That's the beauty of AI platforms is writing.
Yeah,
Okay,
I will also add, for instance, with Mark, we discuss a lot. For instance, I like ChatGPT for text, but I like Gemini for images. There are other good ones, and I'm sorry, like we couldn't show you the long video of Einstein that is called in video. So you can test different tools and learn and which one also makes sense to what you want to do. So don't pay everything at the beginning, just test it for free and then you see how much it works.
Okay, it's 1:02, so I'm just gonna do one more question. What do you recommend, having a personal profile and one for the company, or both?
So I'm gonna go there because I think it goes aligned with Soraya's question before. So you don't need to pay 2 versions of AI. The way you may need to do it if you want to have a team where you have all the team under one AI umbrella, that we have many clients doing it. In that case, maybe you want your personal one and your business one. If you don't want to do that, you can always just decide which one is more important for the setup, put it in the setup, really go back, and then you can check, for instance, in ChatGPT, there are projects. So you can create your personal information as projects. If you don't see that AI is doing what you want to do, like Soraya said that is missing, you can always ask AI, what do you know about me? And check if what AI knows is what you wanted to know. So you can always remind AI what you know. You know that AI has these little hands, like up and down, the thumbs up and thumbs down. When you get an answer that you really like, put a thumbs up so that AI knows that that's an answer that you really like. So by asking what information he has about your company or yours personally, then you can see if he's reading it correctly.
Okay, thank you. Okay, everybody, it's 1:04, so we've extended ourselves 4 minutes. This presentation is recorded, so you will be receiving the link to the webinar as well as the presentation and all the links that we have shared. And we will be registering you for next week. So we will be seeing you next Wednesday at 12. Thank you so much, Mark and Adriana, for taking the time and leading this wonderful workshop. Have a great rest of the week, everybody. Bye-bye.